Take it away, Ryan.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for joining our fireside chat. This is the CEO Forum with María Trusa, and she's going to share some of her mindful strategies applicable for any startup. First, I'd like to introduce Maria Henkel. She is our founder and president of the CEO Forum, recent graduate of Rutgers University MBA, and is a talented marketing expert. Maria is an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and an author of I Say No More. She is also the founder in the social movement with the same name, which helps victims of sexual abuse. Born in the Dominican Republic, Maria is the CEO of Formé Medical Center and Urgent Care located in Westchester, New York. Formé offers health services and dignified care to the vulnerable Hispanic community, especially those who do not have the ability to pay for insurance or lack immigration status. With that, I'd like to pass it on to Maria.
Hello, everyone. Is this Maria? Because there's two Maria now. So.
Yes. So yes, no, it's perfect. Go ahead and give us a quick background, Maria. We'd love to hear about how you got started, where you're from, and we'll take it from there.
So I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic, and I came to the United States when I was 15 years old. And if you think back, I mean, I'm 57 now, you're going to find that I am an open book, literally. Everything that there is to know about me, I share with the world. And when I came in the United States, I couldn't speak English at all. It was extremely difficult to find even people that you could speak Spanish to, even though I came to Washington Heights. Mm-hmm. And because very soon after that, I ended up moving to Jamaica, in Jamaica, Queens, and I really was struggling with the fact that I couldn't communicate. And I went to high school and really struggled at the beginning, but later on was able to build myself slowly, graduated from high school, became a medical assistant. And the medical assistant field actually ended up giving me an amazing career in healthcare. That was the starter for me. I ended up working at Scarsdale Medical Group, where I was there for 2 years as the medical assistant. And soon after that, I became the manager. And soon after that, 2 years later, after 4 years of being at Scarsdale, I became the executive director. And I had a longevity of 26 years of an amazing career in healthcare. And I was able to build this practice from 7 doctors to 50 doctors, from 10,000 square feet of medical space to about 80,000 feet of medical space, from a few millions to many millions. And I thought that was the place where I was going to retire. And later on, I have a life-altering experience at the age of 2014. And I ended up making a drastic change. I knew I had a calling. I just wasn't present to the calling. When I decided to leave Scarsdale Medical Group, everybody thought I was insane because I had a job where I was being paid an amazing salary and great benefits, pension. And I remember my mom saying to me, "Pero mija, estás loca? Are you crazy? Like, why would you do that?" And I said, well, I know that there is a calling that I've been resisting for about 10 years, and I am done resisting it. I am present to the fact that I came to this world to impact lives and impact our Latino lives. And I thought I was doing it because out of 250 employees, I had about 200 that were Spanish.
Wow.
So I'm thinking I am helping the community anyway. But then I realized that I needed to go from hundreds to thousands. So I decided to leave. I gave myself 3 months. And this is where the mindfulness tools that I'm going to share with you are going to resonate with you once you see the creation of an amazing entrepreneurship life with the first tool, which it was visualization. When you visualize it, when you feel what you visualize, The trick is, because a lot of people say, but I visualize being rich and I don't become rich, or I visualize having an amazing, successful business and it doesn't become a successful business. The trick is that what you visualize, you have to feel it in your heart and soul, that it's something that is possible. So to me, there was not a question of what I was going to do and what kind of an amazing practice I was going to build. It was more of just giving myself the time because I believed in myself. I knew that I had 26 years of experience of building medical practice. I knew the business. I became an expert in the business of healthcare. But I had to visualize first, creating Formé. So 3 months later, to make a long story short, I end up hooking up with my partner in crime, Gina Capelli, who had built, she went in the entrepreneur before me. It was her business, and she was struggling. She was losing her business, and she was selling it to White Plains Hospital. And she said, if I get you, Maria, then I won't do that. I won't sell it. And Gina had created a beautiful facility. By the way, the visualization that I had of creating this amazing, beautiful place for the underserved community, where I would raise the standard of care for them. And I will raise what the expectations of the care was that they believed they could get. And just from the moment they walk in, I wanted a place where they can look with pride that I'm being taken care of, in a place that looks like a hotel. Our patients call our place the hotel because it's that beautiful. And that was number one. I wanted a beautiful place with high quality doctors. I wanted a bilingual place, culturally sensitive. All of these things I visualized before I was able to create it. And I believed that I could do it because I had the skills. And in my mind, the 26 years as Carousel Medical was building me to be able to make the impact that I was going to make for the uninsured. And I also understood I need to focus on the undocumented population. They don't have access to insurance. I want to create something unique for them. They became my focus. So I had tremendous focus and a very strong visualization. And I felt it in my bones that I was going to do this. I gave myself to the details of 3 months. I said in 3 months, I was going to have a medical center dedicated to the Latino community with a very strong focus on the uninsured, undocumented population. And I was going to treat them with love, kindness, and respect. And I was going to create the same thing for our staff. And our staff was going to pour this love, kindness, and respect. All the details of visualizing it. When the visualization does not work, it's because there's a disconnect with the feelings in what you visualize. So you can visualize being wealthy. I wanted financial freedom. This was something that I started creating in my mind. I want to be free of stress, of having to worry about paying the rent or going to shopping. I used to hate going shopping because I would stress. I was a single mom for 17 years, and I will stress so much about the fact that do I have enough money to buy my kids' clothes this year? Do I have enough money to take them away sometimes? And I knew that I wanted to get out of that mentality. And I started working on, again, visualizing a life that is free, is financially free. And I can tell you that this formula works. That's why, I wanted to concentrate on the mindfulness tool because I'm somebody that is obsessed with mindfulness, because I've created such an amazing life in what I call the 5 pillars of my life. And the pillars, according to my standards, is that the relationship that you have with your body, the relationship with your family, the relationship with your finance, the relationship that you have spiritually. How are you connected? Not just to God. Some people don't believe in God, and that's okay. It's everybody has their own prerogative. But are you connected to nature? Do you meditate? Are you spiritually connecting to something, to a greater being? And the last one is joy. So to me, I wanted to create this harmony, and I had to visualize the harmony within the 5 pillars of my life. So I go back to Formé. I had this vision that I was going to help thousands of people. So to make a long story short, I built this business with Gina. We had 1,200 patients. Gina was struggling financially. I joined Gina, and I can tell you that they were the biggest challenge. Those 4 years were the biggest. I got the most challenged professionally. It was incredibly difficult, incredibly challenging. But one thing that I kept in mind is the vision of what I was creating. I knew, I believed in the vision, and I believed in me. I believed in the mission. And slowly, I concentrated with every struggle. We get up, you fall down, you get up, because that's the entrepreneurship. By the way, that's the entrepreneurship world. We get down, we get up, down, get up. Now we are getting down less, getting up, staying up a little more, a little more, a little more, to bring you back to where we are now, 6 years later. We have 30,000 patients, over 30,000 patients. We have a COVID center that has done 80,000 COVID tests since the pandemic. We have thousands of people that don't have insurance, and we are a thriving business. We are extremely successful. It took almost 5 years, and it took a lot of energy, and it took a lot of reinforcement on myself. But I have to tell you that now we are opening up our second center, which I visualize, and Gina can attest to this. When we started, I said to her, we are going to create a program that focuses on the uninsured community. I understood the business of medicine. I knew how to negotiate with doctors. I ended up, right now, we have a medical membership that is focused on the uninsured community. Our patients pay $1 a day, $365 a year. They get access unlimited to our urgent care. For $2 a day, we figure out we want them to get preventive medicine. So how do we incorporate preventive medicine there? So we ended up for $2 a day, they get unlimited access to their primary doctor. But in addition to that, they now are able to go to a group of partners that we negotiated with for the uninsured community. Why is that possible? Because I believed.
Yeah.
I believed. And Maria, I don't know how you want me to do this, so I could give you all the tools, or you can ask me questions, whatever format you want to do.
No, I think this is great. I guess a little bit of questions, but also I do want to go into the tools, but I think it's great that you have this wonderful mindset, and that you strongly believe that that's what got you where you're going. So before we get into the tools, would you have any advice for current students that are thinking about starting a business, and maybe you know, you had all this wonderful 26 years of experience before coming in, and they probably don't have that much under their belt, but maybe they do have experience in a certain field, or maybe they only have a very small amount, but they have a wonderful idea. Do you have any advice for them
Yes.
before we get
so
started?
I have many advice. So, but I would say, look, number one, whatever you're going to do, definitely do something that you're going to like, that you're going to love. I mean, for me, loving what you do is, you know, you spend most of your life as it working. Whether you're working for somebody or working for yourself, you're going to spend most of your life working. And you want to be able to know that it is something that excites you. Number two, that excitement cannot just be about making money. If you go without a real purpose, a clear understanding of what you want to do, and you say, well, I'm going to go into this field because you know what, I can make $100,000, and I did the math, and this is what's driving you. When money drives you, I've seen many people that money drives them, and some of them get to have the money, but at the cost of disconnection. So what is it for me? When I joined Formé, I can tell you, I needed to make sure, even though, Maria, I had a lot of experience in healthcare, I didn't have experience as an entrepreneur. This was my money. This is me starting something from scratch. It was very different when I worked at Scarsdale Medical, because I was there for 26 years. It's already established practice. I just ended up growing it, and I had the ability to come up with ideas of adding more procedures and all of that, and just learning and learning. But then when I came to Formé, I'm starting from scratch. We barely had any patients. When even the 1,200 patients that we had, it was patients that came to urgent care. So they're patients that were coming when they were sick, but we didn't have any doctors. So when I came in, first of all, skills are important. You're going to school, you're getting the skills, learn to do budgets, understand your personal budget before you go into a budget for a business. So I understood my limitations. Like when I came to Formé, I had a personal budget. I've been somebody that I was a single mom for 17 years. So I've been working with a budget most of my life, and I've adjusted my budget accordingly. So when I came to Formé, I knew that I was not going to be able to get paid. Number one, I went from making $300,000 to making zero.
Yeah.
That's a big, big step to do. Some people might think it's crazy, but I had the vision very clear. And then I said, okay, what do I need to cut from my budget so that I can survive in what I've prepared myself to survive with? I've built at Scarsdale, I built wealth because I saved a lot of money. I was very focused on investing my money. As in, many of you are very young. Let me tell you, start investing, even if it's a little bit at a time. I use something that's called Acorn. And this is something that, I don't know if you heard of it, but you can, when I use my Visa card, my ATM card, not ATM, what do you call it? Debit card. When I use the debit card, it rounds off to the nearest dollar. So, and I decided, I said, take $5 of, every week. Then I increased it to, I was just playing with that. I'm like, I'm going to say $5. Then then a few months later, I'll increase it to $2. And now I'm like, let's just take $400 a month, a week, and because I can. But understanding your budget, and then also making sure that there is a habit that is being created of saving, even if it's a little bit at a time. It's their habits. We get into trouble when we create bad habits. And one of the bad habits is that we don't save. And especially when we're very young, we think, we're going to live forever. Like I can tell you right now, I am 57. I've lived longer than I have left to live. So my decisions right now, woof, they're on fire. and like wasted time, like, I mean, I just don't take too long to get over things. But at that age, we think we're going to live forever. So we have to be, I would say my advice is, be a little careful. And definitely prepare yourself with the budget, with the savings, and understand, prepare yourself for even the worst. So that when you start struggling, it doesn't completely knock you down, because it can.
Yeah, that's good advice for sure. Okay, so I love everything that you're already telling us, Maria. So what other tools were you wanting to share with us today?
So the ability to affirm. We all affirm. The problem is that we come from a past, right? Many of us, many people suffer trauma, many. And there's different type of trauma. You come from a background where someone shaped you, raised you, and you had an environment. When, there's a book from Joseph Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. If you read this book, he tells you that 95% of your decisions are based from your past, from your subconscious. Your subconscious, from the moment you're born until about 7 and later on too, it's built. And you don't realize it. It's just, this is the data behind you, is that blind spot that people talk about. 96% of those decisions are made that you make as an adult, it's from your subconscious. 5% is your conscious. That is freaking scary. I know when I heard it, I was like, wow. So imagine, I come from a background of trauma, poor. I was extremely poor. My mother never had enough. My mother had to come to the United States to be able to create the life that we've had. And there was always struggle. So that relationship with money, I come from, you're poor, you're never going to make it, you're never going to have enough. And that's what we speak. So that subconscious, you wake up every single day. So the power, I was like, okay, now that I understand that, like, how do you change it? Right? I love solutions. I'm somebody that focuses on solution, not the problem. It's like, okay, let's hear the problem. Where are the solutions? So I didn't even realize that I was affirming in the way that I started to turn my life from somebody that comes from being poor to the point that for Christmas, there were times that I ate grape and bread. That was it. Wow. My mom and my father, we moved from the age that I was born until the age of 8, 17 times because we had no money. And my father would not pay the rent. He became an alcoholic. So I have all of these abandonment issues, all of this, I'm not good enough, all of this, you're never going to be wealthy. You are poor. You're not worth anything. You're not smart enough. You're not good. How could you even think of building a business? Are you kidding me? Who the heck are you? This is the conversations that we have every morning when we wake up. I have to take the bus because I can't even afford a card. I owe all this credit card. I'm never going to have enough money. Exactly what you affirm is the life that you create. And if you look at your life, because a lot of people say to me, oh, affirmation, whatever, it's, like, wow, this is so powerful. But I tell them, what life are you having right now? Is it the life that you want? And when it's not, what do you wake up in the morning saying to yourself? What's the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves? Is it negative? Well, let me tell you the power of affirmation. I started affirming how beautiful I was, and I'm in love with me, not in a conceited way, but do you know how much I hated me? I hated me with passion.
Wow.
I was sexually abused at the age of 9, brutally abused by a man that my father gave me, that almost took my life, definitely destroyed my life for years and years and years. Imagine the toxic relationship that I had with me. That same toxic relationship, I started getting married at the age of 17 to a toxic man, somebody that suppressed me, somebody that really wanted me to be this Dominican perfect mother and not really grow, and was extremely jealous. And I went from toxic relationship to toxic relationship. But there was a catalyst. My son, when my first son was born, I realized it has to stop here. I am not passing this along to my child.
Right.
I started my healing journey then, but my healing required a lot of positive affirmation. And at the beginning, it feels weird. Like, I'm beautiful, I am smart, I am powerful, I am a force of nature, I could do anything. Guess what? My daughter reads that. I changed her affirmations in her mirror in the bathroom because I'm teaching her how to affirm, because she is also very negative about herself. Most kids, unfortunately, with social media are. So the power of affirmation is tremendous. I've affirmed, and when I wake up now, I can tell you that I don't even have to be that conscious about affirming, because I love my life. I love the 5 pillars of my life. I have harmony, not balance, because there are times that my family is off balance because I'm doing public speaking, or I'm working on my social movement, or I have Formé, I'm opening up another practice. But when I wake up, it's not beating myself, it's loving myself. I love me. I am in love with me. And how many people can say that? Unfortunately, we are taught from our subconscious to not like yourself. From the moment we are born, our parents, many parents, they bring their own trauma, and they are not thinking of being curious. What damage am I making to my children? Because they don't know. Mm-hmm. So we carry this negativity. I'm going to share 2 gifts with the affirmation. I'm going to give you a speed affirmation process. Okay. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
So there are divine numbers that I'm going to share with you. The divine numbers are 3, 6, 9, and 21. So I want you to choose an affirmation. But when you do affirmation, just like you say, I'm poor, you need to change it to I'm rich. But you need to actually pick an affirmation that you really want. I'll give you the one that I just did not too long ago. And I do this periodically. When I really want something, I'm like, okay. So my daughter suffers from anxiety, major anxiety. And I said, I want my daughter, and not one, by the way, let's change that. My daughter is living a less anxious life. And I did that affirmation in my affirmation diary. Get something nice. The guys that are here get something masculine that makes you feel strong. And the women just get something that you feel connected with. So write the affirmation 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the middle of the day, and 9 times at night for 21 days.
Wow.
And you might say, well, how is that going to happen? Guess what? None of your business. None of your business. All you do is write it and start believing it, feel it. I was picturing my daughter less anxious. I could picture her smiling a lot more. I could picture her connecting with her friends, and I could picture her just getting ready for high school. And as I'm writing this, I'm feeling all of this. Guess what? My daughter we're in a situation where I'm divorced, and my daughter goes to her dad. She was going about close to 50%. She did not want that. It was really something that we fought in court to be able to, for her not to do that. I wanted her to go whenever she wanted, and also not sleep over because she didn't feel comfortable. And she's somebody that suffers from anxiety since she was very little. So I fought, and I couldn't fight anymore because the courts decided that they were going to do this. So I've been telling my daughter, you are your own voice. Unfortunately, I have tried, and you know it, but I want you to break the silence yourself. Tell your dad, what is it that you feel? What is it that's disconnecting you? So I was working with her on that. Ironically, about, I would say 2 months after I wrote the affirmation, my daughter stood up to her dad and told him that she did not want to sleep over, that the environment and the way she felt being there was not good for her, that she was even thinking of hurting herself. To that point. Yeah. I can tell you that now my daughter is not with her dad. She doesn't sleep over, not completely. They are creating a new relationship based on what she needs and wants. This is after the affirmation. So, yeah. and I could tell you more example of that. So pick an affirmation that's not too long, because at night when you're tired, you might have gone out and you're like, oh God, I have to write night, all of this. So it needs to be a small, short sentence, but something that you really want and you believe. Just start believing. Number 2, I'm going to give you an affirmation about money. And I want you to do this affirmation throughout the day. I'm going to give you a little secret. Whenever I go to the bathroom, I affirm this affirmation. And I created this habit that it reminds me, okay, going to the bathroom, I'm going to do my money affirmation. And I trained for the New York City Marathon, by the way. And while I was training for the marathon that I ran the marathon in 2019, never ran before, but I visualized crossing the finish line with my boys. They did it with me, and I have a picture of that, but that picture started before in my mind, before I did it with my boys. So when I was training, I had a training partner, and I would tell him, look, we're going to do this affirmation every 2 miles. And here it goes. I am so happy and grateful. The money comes to me in increasing quantity throughout multiple sources. And think about that affirmation. I am happy and grateful. I'm already rich. The money comes to me. Money's already here. And I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantity throughout multiple sources on a continuous basis. And it just keeps pouring and pouring. And guess what? I'm not kidding you on this. My business partner was doing it with me. My son was doing it with me. My son's partner, my training partner for the marathon, was doing it with me. We used to do it together. We would laugh. This was like amazing. And we are both, all of us, the 4 of us, because of the pandemic, never imagined that COVID would bring the success that we've had. Millions of dollars.
Wonderful.
It's the power of affirmation it's endless, and it's in your hands.
Thank you
to
so
say, it's
much.
me, Maria, Joyce.
Yes.
So Maria Trusa, I was reading your book. I love your book. And one of the things I found really interesting is how you tackle fear. And I guess every year you pick like a goal, something that you're afraid of, and then you do something around that to tackle your fear, which I think is inspiring, especially as entrepreneurs, right? Being able to take that risk and being able to challenge yourself. So what was one of your goals for this year or last year, I guess?
Yes. So let me tell you, what I say is I want to squeeze life as much as I can before I go. And in order to be able to squeeze life, you need to be able to confront your fears, because where the squeezing is, it's right after you conquer your fears. The growth from the fears, that is where it is. That's where the meat is. So I have done that in entrepreneurship. So when I came to Formé, I was jumping and I'm like, I don't care. Look, I said, I come from nothing. I will never, never, ever go back to not having enough money to feed myself and my children. It's impossible. I will never go back to being an abused woman. I will never. So I'm already gained so much. So when I jumped into Formé, I was like, if I lose it all, you know what? I have a house, I have my pension, I'll do whatever I can. So I've done this when it comes to my financial piece, but with my body, I have a body. Look, I'm 57 years old. Most of you would say, you don't look it.
Yeah.
But guess what? My body acts like it's 20. I went and decided to do the marathon because to me, it was something that I was so freaking afraid of. I'm like 26.2 miles. Like, who the heck does that? Like, in my son,
I've done it.
You've done it. Now,
Yeah.
guess what? Not many people do it in the
That's
millions
true.
of people in the world, because
That's
the
true.
challenge is tremendous. And it's not just the 26.2 miles. Is that I ran, because I was keeping track of all my training, 300 miles before I did 26 miles. 26.2. So every year, last year, the year of COVID, after I did the marathon, I was actually training to be a body fitness competition, to be at a body fitness competition. I'm like, imagine me, the age of 57, 56, being on stage with the little bikinis and showing off this amazing body that I was able to take and completely cut, because I was at the beginning afraid of all the training and all the weight that I needed to lift and all of the changes in my food and how am I going to fit it into my crazy schedule. But I made the decision. So I was training for 3 months, because immediately after the marathon, I started to train in December to go and do the body fitness competition. So couldn't do that. Obviously, COVID, my biggest challenge was just making sure that my patients were surviving and that we were providing the tests for them. But even there, it's this fearless attitude that I have. I went into doing COVID testing and nobody was doing it over here. Nobody. Our patients had to go in a car and they had to show an ID. Well, I happen to have a lot of the undocumented population. So my patients did not have a place to get tested. So you know what we did? We put a tent outside of our door in the building. We asked permission from the building. We called the city and the city said, we're a ghost town. It doesn't matter. You don't apply for the permit. This email will be the permit that you can do this. To make a long story short, our patients, we started to test them. They would walk over here and we will not just test them. We were examining them. We were doing their oxygen level, everything that I needed to do. And I told my daughter, I said, we both have to sacrifice. I'm not going to see you for 2 months. I did not see my daughter for 2 months. Wow. Because I was afraid to bring COVID to the house. And I kept myself from my office to my bedroom, to my bathroom, and the food was brought to me outside my door by my family.
Mm-hmm.
I was the fearless. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do this. Ironically, that has brought us millions of dollars because because of what we did, we became the pioneers of walking COVID testing. So we started being on Channel 5, Channel 12. They wrote stories about Gina and I, and we started to get so popular. And now we do about 250 to 300 tests a day to this day, because we've become the travel business. We are now doing COVID testing, same day PCR. And now everybody knows that we're here. So look at that opportunity from confronting that fear. This year, guess what? I've never done cycling. So I wanted to do an Ironman with my boys. And I said, I could have picked the 13 miles because I did a marathon. I'm a runner now. So I said, I don't swim and I don't do the bike. I don't do the cycling. So guess what? I did the cycling. I started in February this year. I fell, I hurt myself. I have black and blue everywhere. I will fall, get up, until I would not fall that much. And I was up most of the time. And I'm very proud to say that I went to Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, to do an Ironman with my boys. My son Jeffrey swam. He did the swimming, 1.2 miles. I got on the bike and I did 56 miles in 3.5 hours. I had given myself 4.5 hours. My boys could not believe it. And my son Franco went and did the 13 miles and he did 8-minute miles. We finished the Ironman together in 6 hours. And that was a record for my boys because they've done the Ironman by themselves. And guess what I picked for next year already?
What did you pick?
I'm doing the full marathon, the full Ironman.
The full Ironman. Oh my gosh.
Kudos
to you.
I'm starting to swim tomorrow.
Wow.
I'm giving myself a year. So
that's so great. Would you mind taking some questions, Maria? Thank you so much for sharing everything. I have Ruth here. She wanted to ask something. Would you like to unmute yourself, Ruth?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Ruth.
Let me see. I think I don't have the camera on. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Well, I hope my English is enough because that's a fear that I always have.
Oh,
my Dominican English has the plantain all the way behind. But my question is, back in my island, I used to be one of the first of my family to be financially free. So I was able to have a little apartment. I was able to travel. I was able to have help in the housekeeping and everything like that. For multiple situations that I truly believe are attached to that subconscious mind and the poverty mindset, I came here only with my baby in my belly. And that is 11 years ago. And this is still the time that I don't find the light. I work and I leave check my check. I get the credit card debt, I pay and get it back, and I feel tired of it. I turned 49 last week, Friday, and I want to be a role model for my daughter, and I don't want her to learn these patterns, but I don't see how to get out of it. And it's really, really, sometimes it consumes so much of my energy because I think I'm getting old and I don't see, I pay rent. I sometimes need to ask my brother for money because I don't have enough. And with COVID, it worsened somehow because I work in a salon. It was closed for 6 months because of the COVID. Then when they reopened, I didn't want to go back. So I started to do kind of entrepreneurship with it. I do have a career that I have never practiced in this country. And sometimes it becomes like too much. And honestly, I truly think many, many times stories of success are attached to something that you can demonstrate. So your own story, you came from poverty, but now you're wealthy. But somehow I feel I am succeeding but I don't have nothing that validates that physically speaking. I don't have that example to say, okay, I come through this, now I'm here, because I'm nowhere. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's really saddening.
Ruth, I love you. I know Ruth, and I'm so happy that you're here. I know you read my book, and you are a faithful fan, and I know that I definitely could understand and I could relate to you. I've been there as a single mom for 17 years, and I'm not saying that this work is easy, but I'm going to give you your affirmation. You know that 3, 6, 9 for 21 days? You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I have my pencil in hand.
I am enough, and I have enough. I am enough, and I have enough. And when you wake up in the mornings, you say that I am enough and I have enough. Write it on your mirror in your bathroom. So when you go and finish taking a shower and you're getting yourself all pretty, I am enough and I have enough. Because I can tell you that it sounds hard to believe that you can change the state of your life with affirmations or with your mindset. But the reason you are still stuck is because you don't feel you are enough and you don't have enough. And you wake up affirming that every single day. It takes time, but look, you're affirming that the opposite. I'm not enough and I don't have enough. And you continue with that, and eventually you will not have enough because you don't feel like you are worth enough. So changing that, you start seeing how it happens, just how it's happening that you feel stuck. Things come up and you're like, wow, how did that come up? You know, the advantage I have is that I got to write my book. So I got to visualize, I got to see firsthand in my book, going back, how when I started switching my mindset, that's when my life started to change. And I can tell you that I will never be poor anymore because it is impossible for me to even think it. It's impossible for me not to wake up in the morning and think that I am not financially free. I am. And when I say it, I've said, and some people say, well, you say you're a millionaire. Guess what? I say it because I can tell you, I'm giving you that if I did it, you can do it. How did I do it? It's daily deposits. Daily deposits. It's freaking work, Ruth. But you're doing the work. It's just the opposite way. You're waking up, you're tired. It is tiresome to feel this not enough and not having enough. But daily deposits, you can change it. You can get there. Look, I even heard it, by the way, I've never heard you speak English, and you speak eloquently, beautifully, clearly, but yet you start saying how you don't speak.
You have no idea how many times I got hired for the 311 call center, and 9 out of 10 calls, people told me they didn't understand my English. So it's not me saying it. I swear to God.
I think everybody.
I was not even permanently hired because of the amount of customers saying that, because they have 1 year probation. So you have to, until you become an employee for the city, you have to be 1 year. And I was a month away for completing that year to my American dream job, and ta-da!
I would try it again, honey. I will try it again because maybe then you look. I tell the story in my book. You read it, and I say how I was not giving a job as a medical assistant, my first job, because the guy said, "I'm afraid that my patients will not understand you." And I'm like, but I speak English. I just have a heavy accent.
Yeah.
No, for me, it was harder because I studied English in my country, but I never spoke. So if you read my English, you will think I'm very fluent because I can read and write. But then when I when I came to live here is when I start to practice. And but I truly believe in myself because, for example, I lost almost 100 pounds, and I know the power of thinking that you can achieve things. Because I knew somehow in my mind, I was sabotaging myself to go back to my healthy weight because I didn't love my body.
So guess what?
So I came to the realization of that, and I'm 20 months in a stable, healthy weight.
It's
so,
beautiful.
but the trouble with money is not working.
Well, because like I just said, please do that affirmation for 21 days.
I will do it. I will do it. I will start
Beautiful.
Monday because I don't like to start weekends.
Do it Monday. Do it Monday.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Anybody else have any questions for Maria before we wrap up today? I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, Maria, for your time and your inspiring story, your inspiring words. I think it's really wonderful. Where is your new center going to be located at? You said you're opening a second location.
It's in
Yonkers.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Ruth, you could have a job there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I want to wrap it up then by telling you, we didn't go over all of the mindfulness tools, but I will just tell them to you. Say it again.
Yeah, I said I was going to ask that, like, what are the 3 other ones?
So we have visualization, affirmation, the power of thinking big. Don't think small.
Okay.
Start thinking bigger. There is a book that I'll recommend to you in that subject, which is The Power of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. The next one is meditation. People, I don't know how many of you meditate, but if you don't meditate at least 10 minutes a day, the clear, you get your mind clear, you learn to have more patience, and you're going to need patience, and you're going to need clarity and focus, and that can help you. And then the last one is be present to the now. You have 24 hours in front of you. How you utilize that time depends, that's how your growth will go. So you have to be very mindful of what you're doing during the day. How much time are you spending on social media? How much time are you spending on comparing yourself to someone else? Because comparison kills. Mm-hmm. Are you comparing yourself to yourself? Are you looking at your schedule? Are you setting up targets for yourself? Those are the 5 mindfulness tools that I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you guys, I know I have touched some of you already. And I am here. You know, if you want to reach out to me, I have a podcast, I have my book, and you can go to my social media. My website. I think Maria shared that with you. And I would highly recommend to buy this book. I'm not asking you because I want you to buy my book and I want to get richer. I'm asking you because I want to impact your life. In this book, was actually called by Univision. I had a Telemundo interview and they called it a life guide. Nice. It teaches you all the tools that I discussed with you right now and more. How to go from victim to creator.
Victim to creator. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for being on our speaker series. And I hope everybody that joined us today really enjoys all your advice. We're going to have this chat up on our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to follow CEO Forum on YouTube. And thank you also, special thanks to the Rutgers Black and Hispanic MBA Association for co-sponsoring this event and sharing in Hispanic Heritage Month. Hope to see you again for our next speaker, and any future events we'll announce online. You can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook as well.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay.
Bye.